A warm welcome from Nicola and my side on this super hot topic. It's actually one of the most asked questions is about the integration of ALM to Signavio and towards Tricentis. And we would like to introduce our holistic business transformation suite to you. I will do the introductions and then I will hand over to Nicola Alec to go through a demo of the holistic business transformation suite. Why is this topic so relevant for all of us? We have just announced a very strong quarter and a big uptake on RISE with SAP. RISE with SAP is SAP's offering for business transformation as a service. And business transformation always starts within the business. It starts with rethinking business processes, and then we are in the discipline of business process management. In business process management, business leaders are actually modeling their as is and to be. I mean, transformation is always moving from an as is to a to be. They look at the real execution of business processes with the business process intelligence and mining capabilities. They will map the modelings that they are doing on the as is and to be to the customer journeys that their customers are experiencing. And finally, they can share all that content with everyone in the enterprise, with every employee via the Process Collaboration Hub. With Signavio, we are bringing you all these capabilities to transform your business via these business process management capabilities. However, a business transformation can only be achieved via a software solution, as the standardization, harmonization, and automation that is usually coming with business process management really requires a software solution. And then we are right away in ALM. Yeah? While Signavio takes care about the business side of things, ALM takes care about the implementation and the operation of the software solution. So here we are now in the best practice content and B-ship with application lifecycle management, the famous Activate content. We are the guys that are providing the support for fit to standard workshops. From there derive the requirements towards the software solution, and finally also documenting the solution in ALM. We are then guiding the consultants through all the customization of the system, including extensions. We also have business transformation, data transformation in the build phase that right away connects into application lifecycle management. And finally, we are reaching the testing phase, quality assurance. And within ALM, in our ALM solutions, we have test preparation capabilities for manual testing, overall test analytics for the test coordinator, and finally also the defect management. That's what we summarize under test orchestration, and these are all capabilities within our ALM Solution Manager and SAP Cloud ALM. Then there is a possibility to extend the testing portfolio towards the Tricentis solutions that are on our price list. Here you can basically go further. You can do non-SAP testing. You can continuously integrate into CI/CD pipelines. You can do non-functional testing, impact analysis, data integrity testing. So these are all additional capabilities that come with our partnership with Tricentis. From the test orchestration, we are then moving into deployment. So we have a tight integration into all the transport management, integration of all the cloud deployment providers. And then finally, we reach the operation phase where we make sure that the business is continuously up and running from all aspects of monitoring use cases, meaning process monitoring, user experience monitoring, health monitoring, job and exceptions. So all that is taken care in the operation phase. Now, we also have a very extensive analytics capability in our ALM solutions, making sure that all the stakeholders in the project are on the same page. And then finally, we are also taking it further and provide analytics that even goes across customers. We do that via the data lake that sits behind Cloud ALM. And with that, we also get insights from the SAP side into your business transformation, so that we are really making sure that we can proactively support you. So the benefits of using this business transformation suite is actually that you have one methodology and tool chain from the initial design and from the requirements down to the deployment and to the production. It's one process hierarchy that you can use. Actually, Signavio, our ALM solutions, as well as the Tricentis testing solution, would have one process hierarchy. There is no desync between those. You would not need to replicate in a folder structure the processes in Tricentis. Actually, it comes fully integrated. You could also leverage the best practices and specifically the test content that we ship with our solutions and don't need to re-enter it into Tricentis tooling. And finally, and that's, I think, the biggest benefit, you can have end-to-end traceability from the design and requirement management down to the deployment. And as said before, we are providing you the proactive support because we have full visibility into your quality management procedures if you're using the test orchestration of ALM. Now, when you are actually not using ALM as an integration engine between this business transformation suite, you lose all these benefits. So we really are recommending that you're using ALM as an integration engine so that you have all these benefits previously explained. So the one methodology and tool chain, the one process hierarchy, leveraging best practices, the end-to-end traceability from the requirement to the deployment, and finally getting proactive support from SAP. You get that only via integrating all the tool chain via ALM. Probably the biggest benefit in the eyes of the customer is the end-to-end traceability and the full stakeholder transparency of the project. For that, we are providing different analytical capabilities that are completely embedded in our ALM solutions. What you see here is the solution readiness dashboard of Solution Manager and Focus Build, where you see basically the status of the overall project, the work package, the work items, the status of the requirements, the current wave progress, the risks and issues that we have, the status of scope changes. We have the functional spec and technical design availability, all the transparency about testing with test cases, unit testing, defects and defect corrections, test status, and finally, the defect details. We also provide information about all the deployment in the solution readiness dashboard. But that's not the only traceability that we provide. We have also, apart from solution readiness, the business process readiness dashboard, which puts all the information in context of a business process readiness. We have requirements traceability. We have actually test and release analytics for the test coordinator and the release manager. And you can integrate even via APIs our embedded analytics with the SAP Analytics Cloud, or use external analytics of your choice, what you have in your enterprise, and integrate with that if that is what you like to do. We connect everything what we do to business process documentation. And that's, I think, a big benefit compared to requirement solutions like Jira that usually are not business process oriented. We are always in relation to the business process, and that's what really talks to the business. Now, when we go through the tool chain a little bit more from the functional side, and I will explain that because that will also be the demo flow from Nicolas after me, we are starting, as said, with business process modeling in Signavio, envision our to-be processes going forward, conduct from there the fit to standard workshops and fit to gap workshops in our ALM solution, document the requirements. From there, then map the business processes to the software solution that we are going to take. Hopefully, a lot of SAP will be used. We have then different possibilities to integrate Scrum dashboards to manage agile implementations. For that, you have also seen on the Amazon a couple of partner solutions that are facilitating that integration with a more productized approach based on our APIs. And then finally, we reach testing. In testing, we have to differentiate between test preparation and test execution. Everything that you, by the way, see here in blue is basically coming with enterprise support, basically provided as part of ALM platform. And what you see here in green are then additional capabilities which are available on our price list. So what we have in test preparation is manual testing, the automation of test cases with the Tricentis test automation, that is an OAM into Solution Manager, and going forward also SAP Cloud ALM. And finally, you can then also use the SAP Enterprise Continuous Testing and then do the test automation also based on CI/CD pipelines. In the test execution, we also support obviously manual testing in Solution Manager and Cloud ALM. We have the Solution Manager and Cloud ALM executed managed test execution. And then finally, we have SAP Enterprise Continuous Testing that can also manage the test execution. That would be less process-oriented, but more CI/CD pipeline approach. And then you integrate from there into the CI/CD pipeline tooling that basically Tricentis integrates into. All of that is accompanied with the test management, test tracking, and defect management and defect correction management of our ALM platforms, SAP Solution Manager, and going forward, Cloud ALM. Finally, we can also integrate into impact analysis by Tricentis and our performance testing by Tricentis, which is more for the non-functional testing. Finally, you can also integrate all the business process documentation into Enable Now, which gives you the possibility that you do the rollout to your end users based on the business process structure, which again is your single source of truth for all the project. With that, you basically have the same rollout towards the end users, and the learning maps would actually completely map to the business process documentation stored in the ALM platform, in the Signavio solution, and then finally in the folders in the execution towards Tricentis. And then finally, we would manage via quality gates and the deployment to production. And based on status changes, we would then promote all the transports over to the production stage with our deployment management in our two ALM solutions. That's actually the overall flow of how things are happening. Yeah, and with that, I would like to hand over to Nicolas Alec to take us through a demo of exactly that same flow. Nicolas.
Thank you, Mark, for the great introduction. Good morning, everyone. I hope that everybody's doing okay and that you have a very good ALM Summit so far. So obviously, I'm not sharing exactly the right thing. Give me a second. This is the PowerPoint slideshow. So as Mark said in his great introduction, I will take you through the flow. Before doing so, a short alignment on the terminology that I might use so that no one is confused. We'll be going through the process management part with Solution Manager and Signavio. By the way, this demo is really focused on SAP Solution Manager and focused build. So we'll go through the process management. I might use the term process modeling, solution documentation. Then we have really all the terms from the build activities, the requirements, which is where we specify the business requirements, the work packages, and the work items where we slice and dice the requirements into manageable development units. We have the testing with test plan, test packages, defects, of course, and then in the project management, we split or we manage our development within waves and sprints with tasks and milestones and queue gates. And all this, as Mark explained, is supported by the analytics. All right, I will now dive into the demo, and we will start within Signavio, where the business user defines, as Mark explained, the to-be solutions in Signavio. We have here one example of a business process for order to cash, sell from stock, internet sales. This is coming from the best practice content from SAP, right? So this is our default view. And here, what's going to happen is that the customer decides to add a new step. It's going to be called approved delivery. And this approved delivery step will then be transferred to Solution Manager, right? So here, Signavio brings all the power of exposing easily the business process to the end, to the business users, really, in a very, very cloud-based and friendly, user-friendly environment. And this now, when it's ready, and this is redone by the business user, is going to be exported to Solution Manager. When we are going into Solution Manager, the development preparation can start really there, right? We will find our delivery approval additional step, which has been automatically transferred from Signavio into Solution Manager. And we can see that we have at the moment no requirement assigned to it. And we'll go ahead and create a requirement in Solution Manager for that. So here we are in the requirement management application. So we create a new requirement called add delivery approval step. We specify some attributes and we give it a description. Once we've done this, we will just save the requirement. Here we have several steps where the requirement gets refined and approved. And then what will happen is that now the architect from the dev team, from the development team, will now create the associated work package. This is still done from the requirement management application. We have the requirement that we just created about the add delivery approval, and we're just going to create the work package for this. I've skipped a few steps, and here the work package is already created. We will jump into the application. Please pay attention to the IDs. So the requirement is 396 and the work package is 397. We will keep these entities throughout the complete development. Going now into the work package itself, we will see that we have here the attributes for the work package. And what we're going to do is the work package is what is going to help us manage the development. So the architect is now going to create the needed entities. And here I wanted to highlight that this can be done now automatically. You can see that initially the documentation tab is red, and we're going to offer to the user the possibility to create all the mandatory documents. We're just going to say yes. And this is just purely a creation flow. It will create for us two things: the technical document, the functional specification, and also a single functional test. I can now close this and move on to the next steps. Here we're going to show you how the automation specialist creates the automated test cases from Solution Manager. Going back into the solution documentation for our delivery approval step, we just perform a right mouse click here and select to create a new test configuration. In our terminology, the test configuration is an automated test case. So we'll just go ahead and create that. This will kick off a wizard in which we're going to fill in several fields. And then at some stage, we're going to launch Tricentis, which is our partner tool. When we do this, the test case gets created within Tricentis. So this is where we're going to perform the relationship between Solution Manager and Tricentis. Here we can see that the test case has been created automatically. The delivery approval one, we have also some attributes for this test case. Here I'm just going to create the login. And here it's really the work of the test automation specialist, right? It's going to do the test case authoring in the Tricentis tool. And when I'm happy with it, I can send it back to Solution Manager when we can see that the test case is now existing. And here the relationship between Solution Manager and Tricentis has been established. We're going back into now the test manager is also going to create a new test case for the main process. What we created here was just for the delivery approval, but this belongs to a complete process, the order to cash process, with which we start in Signavio. And here we are selecting this time the process and no longer the step itself. And we're going to create a new type of test cases, which is a test step. Here, what we wanted to highlight are really the power of integration that we get between process management, process documentation, and the testing itself. Here, by a single click, I'm going to jump into the wizard to create a new test case. And here you can see that we have this use solution documentation to prepare steps. And just by pushing the create button now, we are going to create automatically a test case which contains the test steps which were imported from the process itself. So we will find review, sales order entry, delivery creation, and delivery approval, right? All these are brought to you from solution documentation. We can see that the executables are also provided from the solution documentation, right? Which makes the test case creation, at least the skeleton, the structure of it, much easier, right? And here we will fill some instructions about what should be done, right? So this is really also a new approach that we have, which is really step-based approach instead of document-based approach, right? Now my test case is saved. And here we are back into the work package. And what we highlight here is that we've created the assignment between all our entities, the functional specification, the single functional test, the automated test. We created this relationship between the work package and these entities, right? So now this is what we're going to use to ensure the traceability. Once these activities have been prepared, right? And of course, the sequence could be different. Things can be done in parallel, but the architect or the project manager are going to trigger the start of development, right? These were preparation activities, and now we're going to start with development. And here we just have a step, a status, which is handover to development. We're going to trigger that, and this will lead to the creation of different entities. And here also the test manager can really prepare the testing activities. We will go for that into the test plan management and the assignment analysis. Here, what we do is that we will load the work package ID that we are working with, right? And you can see here again, all the way the traceability. We have a work package ID, the requirement ID, and we will find the different test cases which are associated to this work package, right? And we have 3 of them, 1 at the process level and 2 at the step level, right? And what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to select these and say, create a new test plan. So here we just create a new test plan. And again, here, we're just clicking, right? We're selecting, we're just clicking. So very, very straightforward activities. And of course, what will happen is that the test plan could be created beforehand. And then here I will just create a test package for my work package. And this is the approach that we recommend, right? To have 1 test package per work package. This is what you can see here. These are pretty much all the default options. And I'm going to save now my test plan. It will be created for me and it will be associated to the work package. Now, of course, the developers will do their job, right? They will develop, they will build the new requirement, which is requested. And at some stage, we can see here that's a work item, which is associated to the work package. We can see that at some stage, excuse me, the developer is done with development, right? They've done their job. And what they will do now is that they will pass this on to test. So what I'm demonstrating here is that we have a very, very integrated flow, both in terms of personas, which have to do what they need to do, and also supported by the workflow that we have here, and also the integration with a different type of documents, testing and documentation. I will now pass it to test, and we can see that the work item status changes to be tested. So what we will do at this stage is that we will use the test case that was created at the step level, and we will execute the testing. I will just now acting as a tester, and I'm jumping in the focus build tester into the my test execution. I will now open it. We can see that there are 2 test packages which are available for me, and one of them is the one which is associated to my work package. Here we'll find again the ID 397. We have 3 test cases ready to test. None of them have been executed so far. When I go into the execution, I will now trigger the execution for my delivery approval, the automated test case. And here, well, for the sake of the demo, we simulated a failure, right? So I'm here, I'm just going to click on execute. My test case gets executed. And here we simulated a failure so that we can see that we have a test execution error. When this fails, right, the execution error is of course brought back into the my test execution application. So as a tester, I can see that this failed, right? So now the natural thing would be moving into the next step. I will create a defect for this test case, right? So always integrated in my application, I'll now create a defect directly from here. Most of the information here is defaulted about the test plan ID, the test package ID, the configuration, so that all this context is provided to us. And here, the only thing that I did is that actually I put the path to the log file, right, to the execution log, right? And I just create my defect, sorry. Moving forward, the defect is of course associated to my test case and to the test execution. Here, I'm going to demonstrate that manual tests can also be executed. We will see here that I'm going to use the test case, which was created at the process level. We can find here the 7 steps, which are present here. And the way we execute here is that we will follow the flow of the steps and then set a status for each of these steps, right? So this one is okay, this one is okay, and I will stop here and leave my test case in progress, right? And now I'm just checking the time. We're doing good because I really want to save time for Q&A. So for the full analytics, these slides will be made available to you afterwards. But here I will jump into the system to show you that this is really a live thing and totally real. By the way, also what we wanted to do is to do that on our Solution Manager demo system available to you on the internet. So everything that I showed to you is in the system. right? So you can go there, check it out. It's all real, it's all there. I will now go into the solution readiness dashboard, and for our S4HANA implementation project, what I've done, and this is a master project which has two sub-projects, logistics and finance. I will dive into now the logistics sub-project, because you see where my work package was created for. And what we can see is that we're going to get in a little while some key indicators. So the first, the overall status of my project. We are currently in wave 3, and the wave for us, it's what could be considered as a support package, right? So when we deliver a support package from Solution Manager, for example, this is a wave, and the wave is split into sprints. And as Mark explained beforehand, right, you will find really the key high-level indicators for your project. So immediately you'd be able to look into the requirements, right? Which ones are realized, which ones are in progress. So for instance, I will go into the realized one, and we're going to find our 396 requirements. I mean, and that's the internal demo system, right? So people are doing lots of things here. They are having fun. So I should be able to find my requirements somewhere down here. Of course, I don't, right? So not a big deal. It's a 396. Oh, my requirement is completed, so it's not showing up here, right? So that doesn't matter. I'll go back here, but just to give you an idea, no, I'll still go back to the requirements to show you how everything is integrated, right? We have everything which is integrated. My requirement is not completed, it's productive. We pushed it all the way to production. That's why it doesn't show up here. And you can click any of these requirements, and you will navigate in a very, very transparent way to the requirement app. So we have really a tight and very, very natural integration and flow through our UIs as well, right? So we'll now jump into a requirement, and I will go back to the solution readiness dashboard. Okay, going back into some other KPIs from the solution readiness dashboard, one of them that I really like is the current wave progress. And this is where most of the project managers will spend their time to see how they are doing, right? What is the current progress? This is our internal demo system. It gets refreshed on a regular basis, and it got refreshed this summer. So that's why we don't have anything before that time. And you can see that in our current wave, wave 3, we have currently 3 sprints which are active, and you can see the progress. You can see what's going on, the work package which were created, the ones which enter the scoping phase, the ones which are in development, and the ones which were successfully tested, right? If you want to go one level deeper, right, you can also go to the work item level, right? Remember, they are under the work packages. So a work package can be split into several work items. Going in there, you'll get even more details about the work items themselves, right? And here, of course, I can make a bit of space here, sort in the descending way. The ones which are NA means that they are in the scoping phase. They are not created yet, so that's why we don't have an ID. And here I should find, mine was 396, 399 is actually the work item. And we can see that this one is here. It was completed, right? Again, here, I can navigate to my work item. That's the internal demo system. It's not the fastest one that we have. I will give that to you. All right, I will go into my work item, and here I want to demonstrate to you again the traceability that we have, right? If I go into the relations, I will find the release for which the work item was assigned to which the work item was assigned to. I can navigate to the work package and to a work package to the requirements. Before moving there, I also go into the documentation. In here, we can find the business process and the business process step. We can find the different documents. Here we can see that we have this test case, which is assigned at this level. So the traceability is there. As Mark explained, we have everything in one place. One flow of documents, one source for documentation, one source for testing, everything is there, right? So I'm going to the work package. We can find the same thing here, and the work package itself is related to the work item and to the requirement itself. Right, so, and going back to the high level view of the test suite dashboard, you have, as Mark explained, lots of KPIs. I cannot dig into all of them, dive into all of them, the unit test status, the defect corrections, the test status, the defect details, right? My defect here has been confirmed, so it doesn't appear here, so that's why. But you get really, the great high level KPIs, which are key for the project manager, right? going back to the presentation, so this is the solution readiness dashboard. I will jump now a bit faster about this. I demonstrated all that to you. And again, you can find that live in the system, so feel free to go for it. We have, of course, the test analytics, right? We have the solution of a test suite dashboard in which you will find all the KPIs. This is where I just started. I just captured this one when I started my execution. So we have, we had a very little activity. We have information about the different, the execution. We'll also find here, I selected more test plans. We'll find here more activity. When you have more test plan and test cases, you can really follow through your testing progress. And I'll go back to the test suite dashboard in a little while. Here we have, this is something new that not everybody might be aware of. We have introduced also business process reporting. We want to help you assess how ready is your solution from a business process point of view. So we're always looking at the same data, which is in our core in the Solution Manager, but we look at it from different angles so that every persona, every person in the project can find the right view for him or her. So we'll go into the business process. Here we selected our solution, we selected the scope and the process itself. And here you will be able to find all the view from the business angle. We will find here our requirement at delivery approval step, which was at this time successfully tested. We can see its functional spec availability, single functional test availability. And here again, another view from the business process documentation side, right? Here that we are in the development branch. So this is what is currently being done. We switch here, oh, sorry, wrong click. We switch here to the design branch, and here by using the visual filters, with in realization and draft, we can see what is to come, what is going to come in your solution in the future. So really a very comprehensive view also from the business process point of view. Now I'll go into the full traceability for the requirements, which is also something which we are very which is really key for us, right? Because we can go all the way for our requirements. And here again, these slides will be made available to you after the session, but I will jump now again into the system and I will use the test suite dashboard, right? And in the test suite dashboard, I have previously selected the test plan on which I was working for my demo. And here I will jump into the traceability matrix for this. And the traceability matrix is something that we introduced a long time ago, but we kept on, improving it. And it's also something I was watching the demo for of a session for my colleagues who are explaining stuff for Cloud ALM. We're going to enforce exactly the same thing in Cloud ALM, right? This traceability is key for our customers, is key for us, right? So here I will just switch to the full screen, and I will try to find my requirements. They are rather towards the bottom. Give me a second. So I'm going to sort again by requirement ID. I should have started with that. And I'm going to look at my requirement. It's 396 to show you exactly what has been done on this requirement and the level of traceability that you can achieve. Okay, maybe sorting was not such a good idea. As I said, our internal demo system is sometimes a bit slow and we have lots of people on it. So, well, it's the demo effect, right? I'm going to wait. I'm confident.
Nicolas, we have 10 minutes left.
Thank you, Melanie. And that's actually, thanks for keeping the time. And I'm almost done. So I will just, all right, you'll have to trust me. I will switch back to the slides because it's exactly what I highlight in the slide. So here I located my requirement. Again, that's the internal demo system. You can go ahead and check it out yourself. And we can find here the requirement ID. We can find the work package ID. We can find the associated work items. We can find here the test plan, the work item, the test plans, and we can find all the 3 test cases that we have with our execution status. We will even be able to go all the way and find the defects. And here we didn't have transport for this demo, but if you have transport, you will also find the transports here potentially, so that you achieve full end-to-end traceability and coverage, right? So now it is done refreshing, and I will still, be daring and look for my requirement in the system. It's 396, so it's right here, right? So everything that I just demoed to you is available in the system, and you can really trace everything of course, you can click, you can navigate to your test plan, to a test cases. You can also go to the defect. And this is the last click that I would do. I will finish this presentation by here going into also the release. Don't forget the release manager. Again, we try to serve all the personas. In here, you will navigate to the releases and take a look at the work packages which are assigned to your releases. And you will be able to have a full rating on this. Here we have our work package. We have rating documents. All the specification documents and technical designs are good. The test plan is also green. And so here, as a release manager, you can go into, take a look at the full details, see what has been done, see what has been executed as a testing, and here really make a perfect decision for your organization, in deciding to release or not to release this work package, for instance. All right, that concludes it. The last slide is about a summary of what we've seen, everything supported by Signavio Solution Manager, Tricentis for the testing, and enabled now. I couldn't demonstrate that to you, we didn't have time, but from all this material that we have in Solution Manager, we can of course create learning maps and make them available with Enable Now. All this is supported by our end-to-end analytics. I've spent quite a few time on that, and also be aware that everything that you see here, all these KPIs are available also via APIs, and we can export them to the Analytics Cloud or to some other reporting tools of choice. I'm through. Thank you very much, Melanie, for watching the time. Now I think it's good time for Q&A. Let's check what we have.
Nicolas, let
Mark.
me quickly make a statement here. Nicolas and myself have done this presentation and demo a few times to customers. We got two feedbacks always from the customer, two things that the customer was not aware of. Number one, feedback from the customer was, we couldn't believe that these are UIs in Solution Manager because the customer would still have a very ancient picture of the UIs and so on. That was the first feedback and surprise for the customer. The second one was, we would not be coming any close, right, to that level of integration and traceability with the third-party tooling we would use, and they were really impressed, by all the document flow and then the analytics we would provide, providing all that stakeholder transparency. So I think we should really use it in the ecosystem, right, to promote it, right, because that gives really us a competitive advantage over everyone in the industry. So that's what I wanted to say here. I think there are three questions that I see in the question and answer session. Perhaps we start with the last one, as it's a very general question. When exactly is the end-to-end scenario going to be available that we have shown on Solution Manager? When would it be available on SAP Cloud ALM, including the focus build capabilities? I think that's a good question for you, Nicolas.
It's a great question. It's a great question. And first thing, we are really working on that. It's exactly what is on our mind to do, if not exactly the same thing, Cloud AM, but something very similar, right? We really want to go exactly in the same direction because the experience proves that the analytics that we just showed to you is what our customers love and what they need, right? So we definitely want to go into the same direction. We have already in Cloud ALM, it was demonstrated this morning. We already have the process traceability, right? Going from the process, its associated requirements, and the test case status with test preparation. We have also here, we're going in this direction. The test part is not there, but we are, honestly, working on it today, and we hope to release it by the end of this quarter. And what's really great with the approach that we take with Cloud ALM is that, it's going to be an iterative approach. We're going to be releasing stuff to you all the time, right? So, for instance, the traceability in the matrix is not there yet, but you have traceability from the requirements into the user stories, right? And next, what's coming, we have requirements, user story, features, which are the vehicle for the transports and the deployment. And then, I shouldn't be saying that, but it should be by the end of this quarter or very early next year, we will have also the traceability from requirements, user story, test cases, and test execution, right? So we are really working on this. We want to bring that to you. In terms of integration with other tools, we're also working on that. We have plans to integrate Signavio modeling into Cloud ALM. We have plans to integrate Tricentis automation into Cloud ALM. But as I just said, we're going to be delivering that, ongoingly to you, thanks to our cloud native approach. All right, Mark, is there anything you'd love to add?
Just one remark. We are performing quite well, right? And we will release the traceability and, let's say, the focus build analogon, so to say, in Cloud ALM very soon, probably within this quarter. I think there is a delay on the test automation integration from the Tricentis side. We are still waiting from for our partner that they provide the cloud native version, so to say, of Tosca. We are in contact with the CEO and the founder of the company on that subject matter, and hope to find a solution until the second quarter of 2022. So let's also say that for transparency reasons, because for TGA is already fully available, right? As we all know, on the Solution Manager side, and in Cloud ALM, we are still lacking that capability. We can integrate third-party test automation from the Cloud ALM side, so we are ready, but our partner needs to catch up here. There's another question by Esteban, and this is that going to be a free version of Signavio modeling functionality to be used with ALM offering STTA from Tricentis? The answer to that question is as follows. In Solution Manager, there is basically a couple of requirements, not towards us, but towards the Signavio side of the integration. They will invest in the integration to make it a little bit more seamless compared to the current integration. There are, however, no plans on the Solution Manager side that there is a commercial change, meaning you would have to buy Signavio, and then you can basically use the integration to a Solution Manager coming with the enterprise support. So basically no change there, but improvement in the interface. On the Cloud ALM side, what we are aiming to do is that we are going forward from the current, let's say, graphic control engine that we are using that still comes from our Sybase Power Designer acquisition. We're actually using that one in Solution Manager, and we are moving over to the modeling capabilities and to the modeling, let's say, graphical control of Signavio going forward. I think this will still take time. Yeah, I don't expect that to be available within the next 12 months. So that's roughly the timeline. We have started and kicked off that project. That would mean that actually with every provisioning of a Cloud ALM tenant, we would also have, let's say, a microservice from Signavio in which we would store the diagrams that would be modeled with the capabilities of Signavio. Yeah. Is that, let's say, a free version of Signavio modeling, right? I mean, we would use their capabilities, but it would still integrate into our application, yeah? So the full Signavio environment around, yeah, like the collaboration features, the publication features, and so on, would be still, you would still need a full version of Signavio. But the big benefit would be you can start in Signavio, right, and then move over to Cloud ALM, and there would be a constant flow, right? There would not be, we would store the diagrams basically once, yeah, and the graphic control would be the same with that. The hiccups in the transfer between the two tools are actually eliminated. Yeah. By the way, it also works the other way around, right? If you would start in Cloud ALM and do your modeling, your fit to standard workshops there, and then you would like later to consume it in our Signavio tooling, and then it would be also right away be there without replication and without changing any diagrams, yeah, because we are using basically the same capabilities. So that's what we are planning here, Esteban. There is another question that is a little bit more detailed with regards to BPCA, and that is the test step creation from the process. What is the best practice regarding BPCA analysis? Granularity, more steps are in one test step. I mean, the
Mark,
problem is the most...
I would take that in 1 second, but in the meantime, we have more questions on Signavio. Should we bundle them together? Right? We have one from...
I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah. We have one from the anonymous attendee, being a Solman consultant with Signavio, which Signavio certification we need to do. Unfortunately, this, I don't know. I don't know if you can answer that, Mark. This one, I would say we take it with you and we provide the answer later on. I mean, yep. This one, I'm not sure.
Yes, we are running out of time. I would recommend to take these questions to the Meet the Expert session in the afternoon and answer them there.
Okay, can I still answer everyone on BPC and the test steps, Melanie, please?
Sorry, yes, answer it.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay. So this question saying test step creation from process. What is the best practice regarding BPC analysis? Granularity, the more steps are in one step, test step, the lesser BPC test scope optimization can optimize. That's a fantastic question. And I can tell from the person who asked this question, he or she knows the topic really well. Well, you're right. I mean, the bigger your test is, the less granularity, the lesser granularity you will get. That's totally fair. But in the ideal world, right, what you would do is that when you have and I'm thinking here about automation, right? If you have a process with several steps, my recommendation would be to have test cases, automated ones for each step, right? Which also are attached to the step in solution documentation, to the process step, and then have a larger one which combines all of them as in an end-to-end test at the process level. Because let's look at it, right? What's going to happen is that if you have a change in one of the steps of the big process, you have to retest this step, of course, but it's almost sure that you have to retest the whole complete flow. So in this case, if you have associated test cases at each step of the process and a big one at the process level itself, in the ideal world, your impact analysis tool, BPC or SAP Change Impact Analysis by Tricentis, would identify the process, of course, and the step, which would give you the details. This step needs to be retested first, and then the complete process, because in any case, the step belongs to the process. All right, I hope I answered your question. And again, as Melanie said, we have Meet the Expert in the afternoon. I'd be happy to answer that more thoroughly in this session. All right, so Melanie, we have to stop here.
Thank you very much, Mark.
I can see that Mark is on fire, is typing an answer while I was talking.